Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Dragonheir video. Guys, today in this video, we're going to be looking at the tips for total noobs. So players like me who do not understand yet how to fully play Dragonheir. We're going to be bringing on Neva from the HH Gaming team, who's got his own YouTube channel. He's one of the top players in this game. And he's going to talk us through some of the things we should do, some of the things we should avoid, and get us ready for Season 2, which is coming around the corner. Now, Dragonheir launched coming up for 6 weeks ago, I think now. It's had over 10 million downloads already. It's available to be played on PC through Steam and Epic Games, on a Mac, on your Android, on your iOS. It's literally anywhere, and you can play the same game across devices. Super cool. You can download it. Use the link down below. It does support my channel. Get involved. We do have a section on my Discord as well, where we're talking all things Dragonheir. Any videos that get released from Neva or myself go into that section as well. Saf's also playing it a lot, so there's quite a big group of the kind of Hell Hades community that are involved in this game. I would suggest that you should do the same, get involved, and yeah, we can have some fun with it. Anyway, I'm going to invite Neva on, and let's get this discussion going. And today we are joined by one of the professionals that plays this game, one of the best content creators that covers this game. Neva, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, really good. Look,
Good.
this is like the perfect video for me, honestly, because what we're going to talk about today is top tips for noobs. And I'd say I'm still probably in the noob camp. And obviously, Neva, you've been playing. I mean, talk us through how long you've played for and, how addicted you are to this game.
Well, I started on global launch. Obviously, I think it was the 19th of September or something like that. And my season is just coming to an end now. So we've just
Yeah.
killed the last boss of the season. So realistically, I don't have anything to do at the moment. And I guess that shows the addiction because I am missing things to do. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, no, I am really enjoying the game. It's been a breath of fresh air, and I'm really excited for season 2. So
Well, I guess where we'll start then is this kind of like seasonal change,
yeah,
because this is probably new to anyone who's new to this type of game. And with Dragonair, it does kind of like have this almost quite a hard reset when you go from season 1 to season 2, etc.
yep,
Um, so I guess a question. Let's take an account at my level right now.
okay.
I've got a pretty decent amount of heroes, tons that I still have not leveled up and kind of made use of yet.
Yep.
I've got a pretty terrible amount of gear, and and I've got some things to use, like I've got a couple of scrolls to upgrade skills and stuff like that. So I guess what's the priority at this point in the season? We know that season 2 is like what, a couple of weeks out, if that.
Yes, I think it's like 9 days away. Oh, what date is it today? It's the 5th. So about 10 days, 9, 10 days until it'll
Yeah.
be released.
So what would you say for, because this is going to come up again and again, for people that are coming towards the end of a season, what do you do? What do you focus on at this point?
So for an account at my point, I obviously have cleared all of the seasonal content. The only thing left for me is Fey Meander and Pillar of Trials. So this downtime I would use to finish up everything you can that you've still got available. So
Sure.
whether that be farming, well, basically do things that are going to give you resources going into next season at this point, because
Yeah.
a lot of the things get reset. So there's not a huge amount of point farming gear at this point. Um, Obviously, if you still need to build heroes, spend some time in Goblin, build up some heroes, but only do that if it's going to benefit you going into the new season.
Yeah.
Um,
Because my question on that is, so I've got my Dritz tier.
yep.
Come season 2, am I right in thinking he goes to level 0?
Yes. So anything earned from energy will go to 0. So anything you
Yeah.
farm to level up your heroes, any gear, it all goes.
And
Um,
all of the resources you've got from the goblin raids,
yep.
they also disappear at this
Yep.
point?
Yeah, it
So
all goes. So you can't like pre-farm a load of stuff to level things next
yeah, so
season,
it's not there's no
unfortunately.
point in kind of like burning stamina here in the goblin raid, kind of, basically getting myself I can't get ready is what I'm saying. Like I can't get ready in terms of
You
stockpiling
can't.
resources.
No, so you can't prepare your teams, but what you can do is you can get ready in terms of picking up resources. So you could farm some more. Well, obviously, any summons they all carry over.
Yeah.
Any of your gems, obviously the worm arrow stuff, that all carries over.
Okay.
Um, any scrolls and stuff. So basically, in Fae Meander and Pillar of Trials, you'll be able to get some scrolls.
Yeah.
They will all carry over. Just like anything you've used scroll wise will carry over.
Okay, so
But
I could like level up skills on the heroes that I'm currently using, and probably more so on heroes that I definitely think I'm gonna want to build out for next season if I want to
see
get like a flying start.
that's the thing. At this point, I wouldn't use scrolls on heroes that you aren't certain of. So obviously, at the moment, you may be using like a fire and poison team, for example.
Yeah.
They're not going to be paired together next season. So before you scroll anything, really look at what next season's going to hold. So obviously,
Okay.
Frost is going to be with Radiance, Fire is going to be with Necrosis, and Lightning will be with Poison.
Yeah.
So before
So
you
so
think
so
about,
maybe we touch on that because I know that this is a major point, and we've spoken off video here, but
yeah,
the elemental kind of allegiances is massive in this game, right? So
absolutely huge. Yeah,
yeah. So I guess talk us through how maybe if I go to redeploy here and we kind of take a look at the whole kind of elemental tree.
yep,
So new season means new kind of like groupings. That's what you're saying just there.
yep.
So yeah, the poison and
So
fire,
if
for
you
example, don't go
the inner
together anymore.
three, the inner three on this screen here, they're all going to move once to the right.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay. Nice.
lightning will go to poison, fire will go to necrosis, and ice will go to radiance.
Yeah.
So basically, all of the teams you've built this season, they're not going to work next season. You're going to have to change it up completely.
How do you
Unless
feel about that, by the way?
I love it,
Just yeah, yeah,
absolutely love it. And the biggest thing for me is ice heroes, which I've been, I want to say fortunate, but at the same time, I want to say unfortunate. Unfortunate to I've
yeah.
pulled quite a few. So I've
Okay.
got something like 5 ice elemental legendaries,
Have
and
you? Nice.
yeah, and they've got very little support and tank options. Whereas Radiance has some of the best support and tank options.
Sure.
So this season, where my ice stuff's been pretty limited, where in terms of what I've been able to use it for, next season it's going to have the opportunity to push into some PVE content because I've got a tank who's viable, I've got a healer who can cleanse and is viable,
Yeah. And
and oh,
I was
sorry,
going to say,
carry on.
so yeah, once you get into a position where you're trying to take down a specific bit of content, so
Mhm.
are you looking to try and always have five elemental affinity, or are you
There's
happy with three, or
there's a
you know,
few situations where I'd argue 3 is enough. Um, the
for later
biggest,
game content, right? Because so far I've
yeah.
done everything that I'm doing with three.
So yes and no. In later game content, like let's say the last month of the season where you're looking at the otherworldly bosses and you're looking at the copper dragon, you're going to need the bonuses there. You literally,
Right.
you won't survive without them. You won't do enough damage without them. And
Okay.
more to the point, there are certain areas there where you are quite literally tied into those elements only. So there's 6 rotating bosses, 1 for each element, where they'll take 100% increased damage from those elements. So
Oh, interesting. Okay. So you end
you're
up needing
literally,
six full teams
yeah, yeah,
to be
yeah,
able to get that done. Wow. That's actually a lot of heroes.
yeah. So
Um,
you want to build at least obviously 2 to 3 damage dealers for each element at a bare minimum, and then
yeah.
obviously tanks and healers to support them. Um, so yeah, it really is important to get the 5 elemental affinity bonus. The
Yeah.
only caveat I'd say is maybe earlier in the game when you're kind of pushing through dungeons, maybe just making sure if it's a damage heavy dungeon, you need to make sure your tank's got it so you can survive.
Right.
Just the 3 times bonus, obviously.
Yeah.
But if it's quite a tight damage check, then maybe you need to look at bringing just ensuring that your damage dealers are all from the same element, so they've got the bonus.
Okay. And so if you're early a game, just interesting what you just said there. What I tend to do in games like this is I tend to focus on my damage first in terms of leveling
Yep,
and gearing, and then I focus on support and tanks second.
yep.
Are you saying is that the right avenue, or would you actually flip that?
Yes and no. So in most areas, yes, but the first dungeon that you're going to be progressing in Dragonheir is Grave of Venom, and the
Yeah.
key to Grave of Venom is your tank surviving. Um, I'd
Okay.
argue that the first thing you should take up to level 100 is your tank because that kind of enables you to farm stage 9. Because a level 100 tank with decent gear will be is kind of the break point where you can start surviving that boss.
Right.
Um, saying that, they're changing all of the skills in the new season, so I don't know how that's going to impact it. But this season, especially, your tank survival on that boss is literally the key to success.
And you would say this is the the number one place to farm gear early on for
Yeah, because
yeah,
obviously, like I said, how many teams you need, each of those has damage dealers. So you're
yeah,
gonna need to get a wide range of damage gear, whether it be the Executioner set that ignores defense, the Gambler set that does max HP damage, or if you're building derivative damage dealers, the Platinum Knight set.
yeah,
Obviously, that's only relevant once you've got legendary gear, but at the point of the season, if you're playing regularly, you will have it.
sure.
And obviously, I know you don't at the moment because you've been so busy, but
Yeah,
um,
but I was going to say, like, what stage would you actually consider it's worth farming, like properly? I know we won't do it this season now. 'Cause there's not enough time left, but
so
what
what
stages would you actually farm to say, yeah, I can get some cool stuff here?
so realistically, when it comes to farming gear, what you can do is you can you push Grave of Venom until you can't anymore.
Yeah.
At that point, you then use that gear, you go to Grave of Curse, and you farm tank gear from there. Once
Okay.
you've got that tank gear, you can go back to Grave of Venom, and that will help your tank to survive. So you can then push into the epic gear.
Sure.
Then once you get to your kind of benchmark there and you can't go any further, you do the exact same. You go back to Grave of Curse and you get some epic tank gear, and then you'll be able to push into legendary gear.
Yeah.
At the
And
start of the season,
yeah.
you get half the amount of drops of legendary gear. I think it's like 20 days in or something, they double the drops of legendary gear.
Oh, do they? That's interesting,
Yeah.
right?
So
Yeah.
that at that point, that's when you want to farm gear. So you want to basically make sure that you've got stage 9 teams ready for that point and save all of your like extra energy and stuff until then.
Yeah.
So you've got a nice little stockpile, and as soon as that change comes in, you just farm.
Sure. So
But
let's talk about hero power then, because
okay,
you've got a number of different things you can do. You can level. You've got scrolls to improve their skills. You've
yeah.
got gearing. You've got affinity bonuses. Like, where are you starting? Where do you start to gain enough power to clear stuff? And then, what's next? Like, what's your order for priority? I guess.
In terms of what? So obviously
Well, so I'm thinking
leveling.
like in 2 weeks we're all level one again, right? So
Yeah.
would you
So
be like, okay, I'm going to try and push my hero's level first, or is it like actually I need to get myself into gear dungeons, or what's kind of like your priority? What are you going to start with?
realistically, I'm going to start by building five heroes. So I'm going to pick out my kind of beginner team, and I need them to make sure that they can clear the first dungeon at a decent standard. I need them to be able to clear Goblin Lair to a decent standard, and I'm
Yeah,
going to need them to be able to do the Vortex boss. So
got it.
I'm going to need to make sure basically I've got a tank, I've got a healer, and I've got at least 3 damage dealers.
And do you
Um,
already have yours in mind? Is it like I know
y-
exactly where I'm going to start, or are
yes
you
and
going to
no.
wait to see what happens?
So I love the idea of being able to finally use ice. So I've got a little bit of a plan in mind. Obviously, this is the first time that I feel like I'm really going to be able to use my ice team properly. So I've got a Radiance tank and healer that I will probably be leveling with 3 ice damage dealers, but I am saving all of my shards for the new season.
How are you?
Yeah, so that could change with obviously all the new
So,
heroes coming in.
are you doing that because there's going to be a whole bunch of new events and like you should gain more rewards and stuff like that, or are you just doing it for like a big hurrah
Honestly, I
video?
don't know.
You don't know? Okay,
No,
okay,
so I just hit pity, a few weeks ago, and I figured, is it worth me trying to get another legendary this season, or is it worth me just pooling everything? Obviously, I'll get my content creator rewards towards the end of any day now, really.
yeah,
Um, so I'll be able to kind of have hopefully a mass summon at the start of the season. Um,
sure,
and with there being, I think it's like 17 new legendaries or something they said, there's new summon events as well that are going to have the new heroes in. I figured it's quite a fun time to be able to
get some
just
subs
kind
in,
of
yeah,
splurge a little bit there and hopefully pick up something new, because
yeah,
there's
yeah,
3 new damage types coming as well.
yeah. I
So
saw that. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
yeah,
nice. Yeah,
so realistically, I've got a plan, but it might not stick.
okay. Well, I just want to get back to like improving power,
Yep.
and I just want to touch on gearing. So, do you have like a model for for what you're looking for, how you gear? And again, I'm probably talking more early game than super late game here, but
Yep.
let's take my Drits for example. I think
Okay.
I was looking for crit rate on my gloves.
Yep.
Um, I was looking for attack percent on my chest, and then kind of looking for attack, crit rate, crit damage on pieces that I could get. I don't have good gear. Like I haven't farmed anywhere near enough or
So
forged enough or whatever. But like, what's
personally,
your
at this stage of the
approach?
game, I value attack more than anything because things don't cost energy. Replaying is not an issue. So
Sure,
I would rather go for higher consistent damage with obviously the chance to crit. So for example, here I'd probably use attack percent gloves and I'd look
I
for
would you?
crit rate and crit damage in substats,
Sure,
but I prioritize attack over anything at the moment. Just because to get the crit rate and the crit damage, you're sacrificing so much attack at this
yeah,
point until you've got like legendary gear and you can make proper builds with high crit rate. You
sure.
just give up so much in order to try and hit that. Which, if you look here, you're wearing crit rate gloves; they're fully leveled. You've got 31%.
Yeah, yeah. No,
So
that's why I was asking actually, because I know in
yeah,
other games I play, so it's different. And
yeah. So I
yeah,
personally would be using attack percent gloves and just trying to improve your consistent damage rather than that chance of a burst damage.
okay,
Um, Obviously you can, if you really need to, you can replay and gamble for a kind of better chance, a better run.
yeah,
But if you're improving the chances of landing of increasing your damage overall, it's going to yield better results for the
sure.
time being.
And what about someone like a support? So I've got like a Voresh here,
So
and
Varesh isn't really a support.
yeah, but that's what I was going to say. Like, Varesh is quite weird. Like when I was
Yeah,
building Varesh, I was like, okay, his
attack with
abilities,
accuracy
yeah,
is,
they attack.
yeah,
Um,
Varesh does an absurd amount of damage for a support. So
yeah,
probably not the best example, but with Varesh, obviously, you just the biggest thing is the accuracy and then attack.
right, okay. And what
Um,
sort? So I'm not struggling to land anything in any of the content I'm doing right now with
yeah,
just
you
22. But at what stage does that start to become a problem?
probably when you start to get like around kind of account level 30, if you're playing consistently,
Okay,
you'll notice stages that will have a little bit more of a accuracy requirement.
yeah,
And it's never like huge. Like the end game is kind of like 320 accuracy or something. And
right, okay,
if you think like, say you're using the artifact that gives defense down on somebody, for example, that's 72 accuracy off the bat.
sure.
A legendary negative rune gives 96 accuracy. You're getting 50 from the elemental bonus. So realistically, it's not hard to hit. You will get enough accuracy. You just need
It'll
to kind of
almost
focus
progress
it a
as
little
you
bit.
progress in
Yeah,
terms of
exactly.
numbers. Yeah,
Exactly. I guess people may struggle if they've not had any luck with runes, but just a basic one. You don't have to worry about the substats too much. Just get the accuracy on it for now.
yeah. And then in terms of a tank, so is it this guy?
Him, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's probably your best tank at the moment. Um, but you just want to build with high defense, high HP. Horus particularly is very well scaled from defense. So yeah, Horus actually does damage based on his defense. He does shield as well based on his max HP. So you're
Right.
going to want some HP and defense realistically, but you just need to make sure that your tanks are staying alive. So whether that be probably, I'd say maybe 3,000 defense and then HP at a
Yeah.
bare minimum. There are tanks like Garius and Furabath who heal based on their defense. So you want to rack those numbers up even higher.
So it's going to be a bit skill based, but like some of these other stats that aren't immediately obvious what they mean
Yep.
because we just don't come across them in every game.
Yep.
So, like, which characters, which heroes would you be saying? Right, I need enlightenment, for example.
So
I need
enlightenment, a lot
skill
of
haste.
healers, a lot of heals and shielders scale on enlightenment, but also anything that says derivative damage scales from enlightenment. So
Right.
if I just look at your heroes here, I don't think any off the top of my head deal derivative damage. But there is a rare. So if you scroll down to the poison rares, you see Eli there, the guy with the bandage, far left,
Oh
second
yeah.
row. Yep. So if you look at his passive, so his first skill, so he deals additional derivative damage whenever he's attacking something under poison. So with him,
Right.
you just want a ton of attack and a ton of enlightenment.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Um,
Yeah.
Also, I've not personally tested it, but apparently poison damage in general scales from enlightenment. Um, so really on poison heroes, you're building attack, you're building enlightenment, and you're building enough accuracy to land the poisons.
Yeah.
But there are also crazy heroes like Flora, Avelios, Shouter. Is it Shouter? It might not be Shouter. There's a lightning epic who does um, derivative damage. Let me just, yeah, it's a Shouter. And
Yeah.
on them, you just want to stack attack and enlightenment only.
And something like skill haste, is that something that you would build out just if someone's got particularly good ult, or is it?
Skill haste is, yes, you want a lot of it on a lot of heroes. I've actually got a video that explains skill timings, and skill haste plays a
Okay.
huge part in that. So,
So you're
for
you're trying to
example,
make sure that people are ordered in the right way
yes, think
to
about
land
it
like
with
ult
like
after
turn
ult.
meter tuning and raid, right?
Yeah,
So, for example, a boss, let's say Grave of Rot, for example, has an 18-second rotation for all of its skills.
sure.
You want to make sure that all of your heroes are going less than 18 seconds, so you can give them an
Oh,
18
okay.
second delay and
Yeah,
time
yeah.
your skills to go at the same time, same point each time.
Interesting. So when you're
Obviously,
building out this, you said you've got like 6 different teams for the big bosses, you're looking at that kind of like skill interval and making sure that per team
yeah,
they make some sense, yeah?
yeah, exactly. Like I said,
Interesting.
in the video I've done on it, it breaks down the requirements for each of the dungeons, so you
Cool.
can obviously figure out where to tune them for.
Yeah, I tell you what, I will link that video down below. Also, make sure that you go and sub to Neva on his Dragonheir channel because it's got literally the best information about this game. Okay, look, so we're probably running a bit short of time. Is there any call out that we definitely need to squeeze into this video
Honestly,
for
not that I
tips
can
for
think of.
noobs?
Um, I
Okay.
think the rest you kind of learn as you go. There's nothing glaringly obvious unless you've got anything that you can think of.
Well, one question I was going to ask. So I got to this point here where it was like, okay, I unlocked the goblins. I
Yeah,
started to find some of the kind of like domains where you get your crystals and stuff. And I've got to say, like, I fell off the wagon of just doing my quests because I
yeah.
started to be like, okay, I need to spend my stamina each day. I'm doing goblins, and would you say almost forget all of this stuff and just do quests? I feel like I got to a place, maybe it was this one over here, where I ran into like a 125 level mob, and I was like, I just
So
can't get
you,
near that.
what you've probably done is spoken to one of the NPCs because you can challenge certain NPCs throughout the
Oh,
progress.
okay, yeah.
Or it might have been the ooze monster or something. Was it?
I feel like it was an orc, honestly, but
Okay, yeah, you've probably spoken to one of the challengers. So
right,
don't do that yet.
yeah,
um,
okay.
but yeah,
But
the
yeah,
only thing
did you
that,
like just kind of like follow quest line, like
yeah,
main
so
quest storyline?
if you stay on top of it, the quests each day take maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of worry about other things. It's one of the things I wrote about in our review article that I actually hated the time gating purely from like a selfish perspective of wanting to play more.
Let you go more, yeah.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
only other thing I would say is probably worth calling out is the first, I think it's 10 days of a new season, you can reset all of your hero levels again. So utilizing that to test
Oh,
teams
yeah, yeah,
and
that's a great
to,
one actually. Yeah.
yeah. So that's probably worth throwing in somewhere.
Because I feel like season 2 is coming, like and this is the trouble with this type of seasonal thing for me. I was like halfway through when I started to really love this game,
Yeah.
and I felt like I'm so far behind, right?
Yeah.
But
You
and
are.
the season's halfway done. Yeah, yeah. So but now I'm like season two's coming up. So I want to get a really good fast start
Yeah.
and kind of get involved. So yeah, I just want to make sure I don't make the same mistakes again, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
no, it makes sense. But yeah, the biggest thing is at the start, obviously, the dungeons where you have to upgrade your heroes, they start to take more damage from heroes of that element. So
right.
they deal more damage to heroes of that element. So
Oh, okay.
say you're running a Frost and Radiance team in the Frost Radiance dungeon.
Yeah.
After stage 2, they'll start to get annihilated. So that's when you can
Right.
use your reset, build another team, push that,
To do
and then
this. Ah,
exactly, and
yeah,
then use
interesting.
that to farm the other ones.
Sure.
um, so it's just an easy way to kind of get the head on everybody else because you've got a team. You can kind of rotate your team and push through different areas.
Yeah. And do you know when season reset happens, are we still on this same map or is it completely fresh?
So I don't know. So what's basically going to happen is it's either going to be we'll play through this stuff again, and then after the final area, we'll go to this new area,
Yeah.
or it'll just be a continuation. So it'll be
Yeah,
we'll
so I'm
move to
wondering
this
if I
new
should
area.
just get my quest. Maybe I should just get my quest line done, open up all of the map. There's a
What
whole bunch of area I've not done yet.
I do that anyway because the amount of gems you get from it.
Right.
So just push it as much as you can, pick up any rewards, just don't worry about you using anything, just save it all.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Cool.
obviously you'll have to use some to kind of advance your account to clear it, but I would honestly try and clear the quest line because you also get the free legendary from it as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
makes
just try
sense.
and pick that up at least before the season ends.
Awesome. Well, look, thanks for coming on and sharing some top tips. as I say, look, I will put Neva's channel information down below, as well as that video that he's mentioned, because there's awesome Dragonheir information there. I just, yeah, Neva, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. Right, guys, have yourself a great day. Enjoy Dragonheir. Can't wait for season 2. See you later.